Mattel product designer Kitty Black Perkins, an unknown fashion influence in the wonderful world of Barbie.
With Barbie, we have no seasons. We can give her a spring dress in the wintertime or a coat in the summer, and it really doesn't matter. She likes it, she wears it.
One of the many women on the move, like model, actress, product spokesmodel Halle Berry.
What I think my role is to, of course, represent not only women, but our community. And what I like about Revlon is that they've included me in their across-the-board campaign. You don't just see me in Essence and Ebony. I mean, it's very important that I'm there, but you also see me in the Vogues and the Cosmopolitans, and they're finally saying that, hey, we can look at you with some sort of equality.
Another prominent woman on the move is respected CNN headline news veteran Lynn Vaughn.
I had a friend in television who said to me that when I asked her about it, that it was a question of putting together the look with your reporting skills. I already knew how to get a story. I already knew how to ask questions. So the only thing to do was to figure out how to dress for TV.
Soul Train Music Award and Grammy Award-winning soulstress Erykah Badu has had quite a whirlwind year.
I'm enjoying it because my dream is manifesting right before my eyes. And it's really not about Erykah Badu. It's about the way that you're supposed to feel and you're supposed to feel because of the music.
Welcome to Women on the Move, African-American women achieving milestones in their careers. We begin with Revlon spokesperson Halle Berry. It isn't often when an African-American woman has the opportunity to achieve the career of Halle Berry.
It all started about 3 weeks ago. My husband's house.
Halle has been on the move in Hollywood with movies that ranged from comedies to action thrillers.
Well, I think over the years I've tried to do really different kinds of things, so not to get pigeonholed or typecast or stereotyped in any way. And this is just another character to add to the repertoire of things that I can say I've done, different genres of acting I can say I've tried, and just out of sheer boredom. I'm one that gets bored really easy, and I just wanted to try something new and just jump head first and see where I come out.
With her participation in the Revlon television ad campaign, Halle has been able to represent a positive image of African-American women in the broad general market.
What I think my role is to, of course, represent not only women, but our community. And what I like about Revlon is that they've included me in their across-the-board campaign. You don't just see me in Essence and Ebony. I mean, it's very important that I'm there, but you also see me in the Vogues and the Cosmopolitans, and they're finally saying that, hey, we can look at you with some sort of equality and accept that we have beautiful black women as well. And they're also expanding and making all different shades of cosmetics that people of color, not only black but Hispanic and Asian women can wear. And I'm very much a part of developing the colors and talking to the chemist, and they're developing things specially for me that will help me better represent the product. So I think it's certainly a step in the right direction, that's saying that we are one people, that we don't need a black line of cosmetics, that we can have one company with one line that every woman can utilize.
My, don't we look handsome today?
Thank you.
Here are today's batch of requisitions, all marked, ready for your signature.
Halle has been able to successfully make the transition to her public life.
I think I finally developed a tough skin. It used to bother me in the beginning, and I would, cry and be, how could they say that? And I'd say, I'm gonna sue. And then when I realized how much it's gonna cost me to sue, I said, well, I just let that go. So now I think I've developed a tough skin, and I'm finding a way to just laugh at it, and every chance I get, try to dispel the rumors if I can. But that's just one of the downsides that goes along with a career that has so many more positives to it than negatives. So I just deal with it.
You do that, now scratch out the one good eye you got left.
Hey, Carmen, how about going to Passes with me tonight? I can dance those other guys right to the floor.
Dorothy Dandridge was the first black woman to be nominated for Academy Award for Leading Actress for Carmen Jones. She did not win, but she was sort of the first black female sex symbol, symbol of beauty, that was really that recognized besides Lena Horne. She was the premier black film star. And she lived somewhat of a tragic life. She had a brain damage to a retarded daughter, and she had a lot of trouble with men and relationships. And the movie that I want to make, and you're talking about people racing to get it done, I've had this passion for 5 years, and I quietly didn't get involved in the war with Janet and Whitney or whatever that was all about, but I kept quiet and did my own little thing, and finally this summer I'm going to do a co-production venture with HBO and do a story and tell it my way, the way that I want to tell it. It's not really going to be based on the books that Janet and Whitney are fighting over, but it's going to be done with the cooperation of her manager that's still living and people that actually knew Dorothy, that were in her life at the time and have stories to tell. A career can be long in many ways. You can be in front of the camera, but there's so much more money to be made and so many more differences to be made behind the scenes, not just in front of the camera. And as a minority artist, I'm finding that to make my own opportunities, I have to create them because they're not just sitting out there waiting for me, to go do. I have to be creative and innovative and find a way to make them happen for myself. And that's what the business part of me is all about. In many ways, it's self-motivating, but in other ways, I'm looking into the future and figuring out, okay, how can I help other women, black women, white women, just other people do good projects that they really want to do, that have good messages. That's my thing. Do things that have good messages. Be responsible about the movies that we put out there. Not every movie out, but I think it's important if you do, once a year, once every 2 years, whenever you can, put out a piece of work that children can learn from, that you can help educate them, because they do look to us for whatever reasons, for guidance, and I know I looked at my role models for that. So the business end of me is motivated for many different reasons.
When Women on the Move returns, we'll introduce you to Lynn Vaughn, a veteran news anchor on the move at CNN Headline News.
Money in the bank, 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 money in the bank. Hello, Monday morning. It's good to see your face. It's time to wake the baby. For school, they can't be late. I got time to fix them breakfast. The little one likes bacon and eggs. My life is blessed, I'm happy. For each and every day. That's why we've got money in the bank. Gas in the tank. The big collectors never ring my phone. Darling, you are all the woman that I need. Just look at you. Hair done, nails done, and your taste in clothes are impeccable. But you know what makes me happy, baby? Do you know what really makes me happy? I love it when you dance. Mom.
Welcome back to Women on the Move. Our next profile is on a woman on the move at one of the world's largest news gathering organizations. Lynn Vaughn has been bringing you the news at CNN Headline News since December of 1984.
When I was a little girl, I wanted to be everything from a ballerina to a movie star to a doctor to a cowgirl. When I got old enough to make serious plans, I thought about going into law. My family wanted me to be a doctor, but since I couldn't stand the sight of blood, I thought that was out. But I wanted to go into law until I graduated from college and realized that I really had had enough of school. I went to the master's program at NYU, decided I had had enough of that as well, and dropped out before I got my master's and started looking for work.
Lynn's broadcast journalism career began in radio in New York.
I didn't decide to pursue it as much as I fell into it. I had dropped out of grad school and had no idea what in the world one would do with a degree in political science. And I had a friend who knew an attorney in New York, and she told him about me, and he invited me to his office on the 44th floor of the Pan Am building and said, "What would you like to do?" And I said, "I would like to be rich and famous." And he got a big laugh out of that. He thought that that was so funny. And actually, a 22-year-old saying something like that is funny because you don't have really any notion what you're talking about. But anyway, he called someone at CBS Radio, a vice president, and the vice president said, "Send her over." So I started in radio at the very bottom. I started as a desk assistant, which is another fancy way to say a gopher's job, and I fetched coffee. My first shift was at from 3 in the morning until 10 in the morning with no lunch break. And I fetched coffee, and I bought cigarettes, and I ripped copy, and in the process of doing all that, discovered that I had an aptitude for the business. I liked the business and was good at it. Well, they gave me a microphone and a tape recorder and sent me out on a story. Fortunately, I had seen enough people do it to know what it was that I was supposed to do. My first story was covering something about the Patriots football team in Boston. And from there, I got assigned to cover the courts. I always tell people I could have a law degree, as many courtrooms, federal and state, as I've sat in. But it was really eye-opening for me. First of all, my mother's an English teacher, so I've always had an aptitude for language. And secondly, the gathering of information, trying to get at something, trying to get to the truth was interesting for me. And so I was pretty good at it. And I'm a hustler. That was the other thing. I will hustle and I will get the story. I don't come back empty-handed. So I did that in radio for 5 years until I got the itch to get into television.
Lynn has become a perennial favorite on Headline News, receiving fan mail and calls from celebrities and other viewers from around the world.
I had a friend in television who said to me that when I asked her about it, that it was a question of putting together the look with your reporting skills. I already knew how to get a story. I already knew how to ask questions. So the only thing to do was to figure out how to dress for TV. In radio, you dress any way you want to dress. But in television, you have to have a certain look, a certain appearance. And so I had to work on that in the sense that I was used to walking around looking like a bum if I wanted to. And I had to learn how to pay attention to what I was wearing and what my makeup looked like. But I didn't have much trouble with that because I started in television as a reporter. And you're out in the field and the wind is blowing your hair, and so you have to be less concerned about it than you are when you're an anchor. I think the thing that I didn't like at first is that you lose the control. When you're a reporter, you are the one responsible for getting the facts. You and your crew. Your crew helps you decide which pictures to take, but you can tell them which pictures you want. So you're in charge of getting the story, bringing it in, and telling it to the viewers in such a way that they will understand what you're talking about. When you're an anchor, you don't have that much control over the product. The reporters and the writers do much of the work. Your job is to communicate it to people, and that was one of the things I didn't like. On the other hand, the anchor seat is where the credibility is, and if you have that, then you are good at what you do. If you are credible, if you can hold the viewer's attention, then you're good at what you do. So I try to mix both. I try to have, now in my present position, I try to be credible at what I do and communicate in such a way that people really understand and I'm really informing them. But I also have control over the product in the sense that I do a lot of editing and I change the words so that the nuances and subtleties of language.
Take my hand, girl, and walk with me out onto the floor. Let me watch you, let me touch you, let me hold you tight. I got moves, girl, you've got moves too. We can dance all night. Just come with me and cut loose, girl. I'm gonna show you a good time. Let me party with your body. 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 Take my hand, girl, and walk with me out onto the floor. Let me watch you, let me touch you, let me hold you tight. I got moves, girl, you've got moves too. We can dance all night. Just come with me and cut loose, girl. I'm gonna show you a good time. Let me party with your body. Let me party with your body. Let me party with your body. Let me party with your body.
Kitty Black Perkins has been a woman on the move at Mattel for over 21 years. Her primary responsibility at Mattel is to design for their top model, Barbie.
With Barbie, we have no seasons. We can give her a spring dress in the wintertime or a coat in the summer, and it really doesn't matter. She likes it, she wears it. The thing with Barbie is the kids just want miniaturized clothes, and what we do is we try to satisfy that need. With Barbie also, the work is a little bit different because the patterns are so small. I'm able to work at my desk rather than working at a big table, the big tables that they have in the industry. In the industry, you're on your feet all the time. With Barbie, I don't have that problem. Also, with Barbie, I'm able to incorporate into my design more a play pattern, which is something that's not necessary in the fashion industry. All you need is something that looks good, that fits good, that makes you feel good. With Barbie, there's that challenge that you have to keep the little girl's interests going. It's basically a toy, but it's also miniaturized clothes, and it is fashion.
Designing at such small scales gives Kitty unique challenges in coming up with fresh looks for Barbie.
A lot of the times the sleeves are so small, they're about as big as one small finger. So that gives you an idea of how much fabric we have to work with. And if there is a definite curve on the fabric or in the cut of the garment, then it's real difficult to turn little curves on the sewing machine. The fabrics are difficult to find because a lot of times we can't find a fabric that's the scale that Barbie or Shani needs. So of course we make our own prints. We make our own fabrics because a lot of times if we see a big flower on a piece of fabric and you put that on Barbie, the whole skirt is a flower. So scale is very important. Color is very important. Brightness, because of course we know that little girls love bright things. Anything that reflects light, all the pastel colors, all the neon colors has been big sellers for us for a few years because neon colors are things that appeal to little girls.
Kitty reflects on her humble beginnings at Mattel.
I started at Mattel in 1976. It was so different from working in the industry. I had worked in the industry 6 years prior to coming to Mattel. My first assignment was to design a line of inexpensive fashions. And I believe at that time they may have sold for something like $1.25. So it was really a challenge because I had to consider fabric costs, which was something new to me. The small patterns, the scale of everything was so new to me, and it took me a period to adjust. But once I got into Mattel, it just became a big fantasy thing to me. And I often say that I'm reliving my childhood here at Mattel because it is like playing. There is some serious work involved, of course, but it's like sitting at home playing with little dolls, and that's something that I love to do. When I came for the interview, I was given a Barbie doll, and I was asked to take it home to dress. And I did. I was told to make one outfit. Well, I made 3, and it was so much fun that I just decided that this is what I have to do. I cannot go back to the fashion industry, and I didn't. I was able to work with Barbie, her little sister Skipper, Ken, all of her friends, Christy, Stephen. It was just a dream come true.
Kitty seems to take in stride the fact that she was the very first African-American designer to be hired at Mattel.
It wasn't difficult. I was the first black designer at Mattel, and now we do have 2 black designers at Mattel. But what was fun for me is the fact that I think people here realize that I did have the talent, and by having the talent, you don't have to push for yourself. It kind of automatically comes to you, and that's kind of the situation that I've been put into, in that I have climbed to the top because I am the top of my position. But it was mainly because I do have the talent and I do the work. And of course I love what I do, and that reflects in my work.
Coming up on Women on the Move, publicist to the stars, TERRI M. Williams.
Are you wasting money on spoiled food? Then you need EuroSealer, the amazing new sealer that creates an airtight seal that locks in freshness so food lasts longer. Simply slide EuroSealer along the edge of any bag and it's sealed airtight. It's that easy. Every time you open it, food tastes like it just came fresh from the store. Look, EuroSealer creates a seal so airtight even water won't leak. Amazing! EuroSealer keeps cereal crunchy, chips crisp, vegetables fresh, and deli meat delicious. 1 week later, twist tie salad is brown and slimy, but EuroSealed salad is green and fresh. Now on this exclusive TV offer, you can get EuroSealer for only $19.95. Call now and get EuroCan free. EuroCan leaves edges incredibly smooth. You can even reapply the lid. That's a $40 value, all for only $19.95.
To order the EuroSealer and receive the EuroCan absolutely free, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-639-5959. Don't delay, seal the deal, and order today. Call now.
Coming up, Grammy Award winner Erykah Badu, television and film actress Marie Horsford. All this and more coming up in the next half hour when Women on the Move can...
Darling, you are all the woman that I need. Just look at you. Hair done, nails done, and your taste in clothes are impeccable. But you know what makes me happy, baby? Do you know what really makes me happy? I love it when you dance. Money in the bank, 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 money in the bank. Hello, Monday morning. It's good to see your face. It's time to wake the baby. For school, they can't be late. I got time to fix them breakfast. The little one likes bacon and eggs. My life is blessed, I'm happy. For reach and every day. That's why we've got money in the bank. Gas in the tank. The bill collectors never ring my phone.
The TERRI Williams Agency has established itself as one of the country's premier public relations and communications firms. At the helm is the agency's namesake, TERRI M. Williams, a driving force behind the scenes in Hollywood.
The dreams that I envisioned for myself when I was growing up. I think I always knew that I would have my own, whatever it was, I thought I would always have my own. I was always fiercely independent, and my dad was I remember when he started his own company after the company he was working for was bankrupt, and he actually made a way for himself and the family, and that really taught me an invaluable lesson. So I just knew I was going to have my own, whatever it was.
Terri's company specializes in public relations, media relations, and special event management for some of the best-known entertainment, sports, political, and corporate figures and organizations in the United States and abroad.
I think that my involvement in the public relations business really was, I actually attribute it to destiny, because I didn't know anyone at all in the field. Once I became a little disenchanted or drained from the social work profession, I decided that I did want to do some other things. And I read a lot. I go through maybe 6 or 7 newspapers a day. I read several magazines regularly. And I came across an article about a public relations course being taught at the Y in the New York Amsterdam News. And it kind of caught my eye. It was just a little bitty paragraph. So I don't know why my eyes just went to that little paragraph, but I just think it was, you know, destiny. There was just something about it that said, that sounds interesting. And I went and took that course, took another course, and was sufficiently hooked and decided I wanted to market myself as a public relations person. I feel that every experience that you have along the way shapes you for whatever it is that you're supposed to do. I went to work for the newly created Black Filmmaker Foundation some 15 years ago. I did that for a year, and then I worked with 2 other organizations that had to do with media and arts because it's a love of mine. And I also decided that I would make public relations a part of whatever I was doing. I was an administrator of those organizations, but because I knew that I wanted to practice public relations, then I publicized all of the projects that we were working on. And so I just really set the stage for people getting to know who I was, what I could do, the caliber of my work, my character, my professionalism, and I let that speak for itself. And then when I went to work at Essence Communications, I was there for 5 years as the Director of Corporate Communications. Really, I would say, set the foundation or established the foundation for my business while I was there in terms of meeting people, staying in touch with people over the years. And so when I actually decided that it was time to go out on my own, there was a ready-made network there.
Terri Williams has proven that she has the innate ability to pull together the right people at the right time for the right project.
The company has evolved. When I first started 10 years ago, we were primarily entertainment, handled a myriad of entertainers and athletes. And we have evolved into kind of combining the entertainment with corporate. And that is our basis, primarily corporations. Right now we do a lot of strategic alliances between organizations, individuals, and corporations. The company is looking to heighten their awareness in a specific community. They reach out to us, we develop programs for them, and then execute them. The hurdles that were most challenging were the fact that I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I started this company. I had no agency experience. I didn't have any money. I did not know how to run a business. I think those were like the key hurdles, you know. But I think, so that's why I'm like a living testimony here, that if you decide that you want to do something badly enough, you can do it. You just have to perfect your craft, surround yourself with people and resources that will help you to do what it is that you want to do, and pray a lot, and you can do whatever it is that you want to do. I think that there are always going to be obstacles in life. The fact that I am a woman, the fact that I am a woman of color is no different than any other obstacle that I think just people face in general. Those are obstacles are in your life to help build character and to make you stronger. But there is no excuse on the planet for racism, sexism, ageism, or the economy to keep you from doing what it is that you want to do. There are too many people, our ancestors who came before us, who overcame like major obstacles to make a better way for us. So the fact that I'm a woman and somebody is a chauvinist, so what?
Up next on Women on the Move, Erykah Badu, the fresh new sound on your radio.
I'm sitting here smoking to this groove, smoking to this groove. I got all the right intentions. I got all the right intentions. Get you in the ain't you in the mood?
It's something new, I promise I ain't never did it. Come catch a vibe, baby, I hope that you feel it. Top down, I know there's something just different. I'm not just anybody, I know you can sense it. I like to wild out so you can be the driver. I want your mind, your heart, let me inside ya. Listen to voice, the music, baby, God ya. It's us against the world, baby, cops and robbers. We in Houston, baby, like the Rockets, we in Houston, baby. No Spike Lee, shoot a movie, baby. Bonnie and Clyde, me and you, look, baby, me and you, look, baby. Anywhere you want, we can go anywhere you want. You like to smoke, I got that D.
Take my hand, girl, and walk with me out onto the floor. Let me watch you, let me touch you, let me hold you tight. I got moves, girl, you got moves too. We can dance all night. Just come with me and cut loose, girl. I'm gonna show you a good time. Let me party with your body. Let me party with your body. Let me party with your body. Let me party with your body.
Erykah Badu has had quite a year. Her Baduism album has brought Erykah to the forefront of the music industry. From being a multiple recipient at the Soul Train Music Awards, Erykah also got her due from the Academy of Arts and Sciences at the 40th Annual Grammy Awards.
Creator has blessed me in every aspect of the word. Artist, I'm a dancer, a singer, actress, poetess. Anything that has to do with art. You know, I live art, dress art. I guess you could say art is my religion.
An old soul with a hypnotic flow, Erykah's voice is capable of stirring the very deepest emotions.
It's an artist's dream. That's the whole, physically, as a person, it's very good for my ego. It keeps me going, it keeps me motivated to know that these things that I feel, other people are feeling, the things that I've created or that the Creator has created and is channeling through me, is felt and heard. It feels really good, and I want people to feel good and different about life and things and experiencing the consequences of their choices and judgments, because I want the young women to know, the young queens, the young earths, the young boys, I want them to know that there's another choice.
Erykah's music reflects what's going on now.
Hip-hop is my foundation. So if you listen to my lyrics, I'm writing about what we as a hip-hop nation write about, you know, as a group of young people who grew up listening to the heartbeat, which is the drum, which is the bass. It took us 8 months to do the demo, have you? And on the 9th month, we got signed. During the 8th month, 3 labels came to us, you know, and it was just a blessing. You know, once I gave the project over to the Creator, everything just rolled into place like a red carpet just rolled out for me. And I chose Kedar Entertainment because he was young, black, new, and I would be the first artist to be signed on the label. And the project needed that kind of attention because it was new. And because music is going through a rebirthing process, and I find myself being one of the midwives aiding in that process, I knew Kedar understood.
Erykah has many R&B influences in her music.
I decided I wanted to sing at a very early age. I had a good understanding for music and harmonies because my mother, because of my mother's taste. My favorite artist is Stevie Wonder. Another artist who inspired me is Shaka Khan, The Emotions, Denise Williams, Miles Davis, Thelonious Monk. George Duke, Roy Ayers, and many, many more. That gave me a foundation. Baduism is an expression of myself. It's not a religion. It's a form of spirituality that fills me up. Lighting the incense, lighting my candles, knowing the Creator, knowing myself, feeling my melanin, using my power, understanding, building bridges, overstanding, destroying bridges, creating a song, sending a message, never sleeping, you know. What's your ism? You know, that's Baduism. So there's I entitled the album Baduism because it's a collaboration of the things that I feel, a very schizophrenic album because I have different feelings and emotions. It took me my whole life to complete my first album. In my book or my, I have a lot of books that I write in because I just write all the time. I just have a collage of different things that when I open it up makes me feel calm because I like to create my calm everywhere I go. You know, burning the incense, lighting the candles. And that's a part of the visual therapy for me. It's Marvin Gaye, there's some flowers, there's some trees, different things in there, and Marvin Gaye just makes me remember where I came from as a child and what motivated me from the very beginning. Some songs just come like that. The music is my inspiration. The music is like space, the nun, the blackness, and the words are like are floating within that. And a lot of times, they just come to me when I'm thinking of melodies, and I'm just using words that fit the syllables that need to go into the music. And sometimes I listen back and I go, okay, damn, that's the song. And sometimes it happens like that. But on the other hand, sometimes I'm erasing and making sure that it's right and exact because it's very important to me what I say.
Up next on Women on the Move, Geralda Dodd breaking down the gender wall in the steel and metal stamping industry.
Take my hand, girl, and walk with me out onto the floor. Let me watch you, let me touch you, let me hold you tight. I've got moves, girl, you've got moves too. We can dance all night. Just come with me and cut loose, girl. I'm gonna show you a good time. Let me party with your body. 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 Darling, you are all the woman that I need. Just look at you. Hair done, nails done, and your taste in clothes are impeccable. But you know what makes me happy, baby? Do you know what really makes me happy? I love it when you dance. Mom.
Our next woman on the move is one of the first African-American women to break through the gender barrier in the traditionally male-dominated business of steel and metal stamping. Meet Geralda Dodd, the hard-working, hands-on president of Thomas Madison Incorporated Holding Company.
In 1978, after being in college, I was a junior in college and tired of not having any money, I started interviewing, and I landed a position with a steel company as receptionist. And the company grew from having one facility to approximately 13 facilities in a matter of 10 years. So there were lots of opportunities for growth. And I always asked for more, more, more. I don't like sitting idle, so a lot of times I would get the responsibility and not the position, and complain about that, but get it later, whatever. But just, you know, a thirst for information. And I finally left that company in 1990 when the opportunity presented itself for me to start the business. And I was vice president of purchasing at the time.
In just 9 short years, Geralda has been able to take an average performing steel company and make it into a profit-generating entity.
I got a call from the person who owned the company, who had to basically repossess the assets of the company. He had to repossess the assets because he had sold this company steel. This was the company that I originally worked for. And he had to repossess those assets, and he was basically owning a company that he was competing with because he sold to companies similar to that. So all his customer base were a little, you know, up in uproar because he had a company that was competing with them, so to speak. So he didn't want any parts of that business. He called and asked. I was working for him out in Baltimore facility, asked if I was interested in doing this, and I said, sure, most definitely. The company had, prior to his ownership, was a minority company through a family that had French descent. And Ford, GM was the largest customer at the time, really preferred that the company would remain a minority entity. The first thing we did is we went into the largest customer, which happened to be GM Truck and Bus. We asked them for a report card on our entity. Can you give us some feeling on how good we are from your perspective? Do we make good parts? And they said, you make wonderful parts. You build great tools and dies. The real big issue we have is management. The company's not pretty much run very well. The company had a union, and inside the union contract there was a stipulation that the owner could not step foot in the plant. So, I mean, that was an indication to us that there were some management issues.
Getting men to accept her performance and her position in the steel industry is still an ongoing process.
I think primarily people are uncomfortable with dealing with a woman because they don't know how to shake your hand, as basic as that. They don't know what small talk to have at the beginning of a meeting. You know, what do you talk about? Do you have children? You know, or things like that. They really don't know what to talk about. And I guess typically men break the ice by talking about sports or whatever. And it's a little difficult. And you can tell when someone's very uncomfortable with it. My grandmother always taught me that it speaks to your character and the manner in which you shake someone's hand. So I always give a firm handshake. And when I don't receive one in return, I make note of it, and I actually usually solicit another one, you know, because it's just important to me.
Money in the bank, 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 money in the bank.
Hello, Monday morning. It's good to see your face. It's time to wake the baby. For school, they can't be late. I got time to fix them breakfast. The little one likes bacon and eggs. My life is blessed, I'm happy. For each and every day. That's why we've got money in the bank. Gas in the tank. The bill collectors never ring my phone. Darling, you are all the woman that I need. Just look at you. Hair done, nails done, and your taste in clothes are impeccable. But you know what makes me happy, baby? Do you know what really makes me happy? I love it when you dance. Mom.
Marie Horsford is well known to television and feature film audiences. She may be best remembered for her role as Thelma Fry on the long-running television series Amen.
Do you like that?
What?
Hey, come on, guys. It's Christmas Eve.
So, ever since you got here, I've been working my fingers to the bone and trying to please you. Well, that's over now. From now on, I'm only gonna please me. And if you don't like it, tough.
Now, she didn't mean that.
Yes, I did.
We have to be realistic that every time a black show comes on and is produced, it employs anywhere from 100 to 500 other black actors. That's the reality. So we're talking about economic development for all.
Today, you can find Horsford playing Dee Baxter on the hit WB network comedy series, The Wayans Brothers.
Dee, this is Terrell Young. He went to the high school with me, and he played on the same basketball team. And this is Dee Baxter.
Hey, head of security.
Pleasure to meet you, Dee. That fragrance, is that obsession?
No, it's Popeye's chicken.
I'm not anti-sitcoms. I'm anti-bad acting. I'm anti-bad scripts and unrealistic comedy. I like reality, even in terms of comedy. I like issues in terms of comedy because I think that we have been able to accomplish so much in these Americas through our particular sense of humor, that in spite of all that is made out against us, that we survive and we surpass and we accomplish.
Born and raised in Harlem, Horsford has been able to develop a very impressive resume. Her feature film credits include Presumed Innocent, Friday, Once Upon a Time, When We Were Colored, St. Elmo's Fire, and Street Smart.
Again, my cry is what we have to ask ourselves, what do we expect from television? And once we answer that, I think we can get a lot clearer on the role of TV, comedy versus this and that and that. What do we expect? And I remember Mr. Cosby had some words when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And a lot of criticism was going on about a lot of the new black shows and this and that. But the criticism was in the wrong place. And my feeling was I'd rather see these young boys on prime time than seeing them on the 11 o'clock news, you know? And I really feel very strong about that. We have a whole new era in TV. So don't ask me now to catch up with what these other groups have been doing for 90 years, you know? So a lot of it might have to be silly. You know, they were talking about, well, all the kids on TV now want sex. In real life, a lot of them want sex, so we wouldn't have that many teenage babies. So somebody is doing something.
I have an idea that might help you with your relationships. This is this week's issue of Sister Girl. It's a test written by Erykah Lovechild.
Erykah Lovechild? Isn't that the girl that Marv Albert bit?
No, this is a doctor of loveology. First question.
We tend to criticize more than we tend to praise. So we have, what do they call it? Undercover viewers, people who won't say anything in public about how much they enjoy you, but they'll whisper in your ear, you know, I just like this, you know, we're ashamed to laugh. Why are we ashamed to laugh at ourselves? And if we have to wait another 100 years to laugh, I don't know if we're gonna survive.
What is your sign?
I'm a Capricorn with Cancer rising.
All right. Second question. Do you believe in monogamy?
Monogamy? Wasn't Billy D. Williams in that?
It says that if you want it, you better have some strong skin on your butt and on your mind. I'll tell you that, because you're dealing with some big money, you're dealing with a big money-making machinery. And very few people are gonna move over and say, here, you can take this 10 mil, okay? So you have to come from another place where we are able to at least accept a young person on TV who has a point of view. I think what we need to understand, though, from the power brokers, that you do have responsibility, which is a lot of pressure to put on you, that because we have so many forces working against this culture, so many on so many different levels, that you do have the responsibility to show the two sides. You do have, and I think Martin, there was one show that I really applauded him for, is Gina's parents and him. And they had a big breakup. And he said, well, your parents are bougie, this and that. She said, wait a minute, Martin. Anything that is unlike you and what your family is supposed to be a put down. I can't apologize because my father went to college and my mother went to college. And we have to not batter each other because we come from different experiences.
Take my hand, girl, and walk with me out onto the floor. Let me watch you, let me touch you, let me hold you tight. I got moves, girl, you've got moves too. We can dance all night. Just come with me and cut loose, girl. I'm gonna show you a good time. Let me party with your body. Let me party with your body. Let me party with your body. Let me party with your body.
Money in the bank. 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 Money in the bank.
Hello, Monday morning. It's good to see your face. It's time to wake the baby. For school, they can't be late. I got time to fix them breakfast. The little one likes bacon and eggs. My life is blessed, I'm happy. For each and every day. That's why we've got money in the bank. Gas in the tank. The bill collectors never ring my phone.
I want to say to the inner city youth and those children who feel that the only way out is to hustle. Yeah, hustle then, hustle. But make sure that you have a belief and have something strong, because the strength is going to be in that belief and not that thing, or not that money, or not that car, or not that Versace. It's going to be in that belief that you have. That's where the strength is. And no matter what you believe, what the powers that be believe will affect you. So stay head wrapped and strapped. If lynchings became popular, is it up to my production company to go down and show them? Come on, we have to ask a lot of questions because we are dying as a people, you know, just all Americans, the world. And until our integrity gets back in place and we put some kind of value on your life as well as this handsome blonde man standing in front of me, we're all lost. I have to care about a human being. I have to care because that's the only way I live and I survive.
For the women on the move we featured on today's show, success has come on various levels with lots of blood, sweat, and tears on the road to achieving. And the journey is far from over for our profiled guest.